Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, Crypto and Thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Jardo, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
I'm good.
Hello.
Where's the gun?
The Chilean government were escorting somebody off the Antarctic, let's call it continent, because of their lack of the correct documentation. So we found the guns. I mean, Adam Meakin specifically informed me that the guns had been found. Now, my concerns with general travel and my experience with armed guards being at various different checkpoints where I had to hand over this little book called a passport in order to enter various different countries legally, and they'd quite frequently check my possessions and check my person to see that I didn't have anything that that country disallowed, whilst there was men standing over me with big guns. That was pointed out in terms of the Antarctic region being under limited expeditional capabilities by the general population. Now, that is exacerbated by the Antarctic Treaty and guarded at gunpoint by anybody who would prevent somebody like the man who recently landed there from being there without permission. They will and are escorted away at gunpoint. So we figured out where the guns were. Meanwhile, the deflection to where guns are when landing in an area that you might not be allowed to be isn't necessarily dealing with the flat Earth elevation angle measurements of the sun for a 24-hour period in the Antarctic, affirming that Earth is indeed measured flat. The very thing being put to the Antarctic expeditioner known as McToon for the literal 100th time when measuring Earth flat there in real time, as I told him personally, after he contacted me proactively, the only flat earther to receive such a phone call from Antarctica. How many other people can say, I received a phone call from Antarctica as they measured Earth flat. I pointed out that they measured Earth flat live while they were measuring Earth flat and was asked about guns or some nonsense. Not many people can say that. I can, as a flat earther pointing out that Earth is measured flat in Antarctica to the people measuring it flat while they were measuring it flat.
That must have annoyed the hell out of them. Nathan, I think I remember the end of that. He's telling somebody that he just called you and you deflected with measurements. Who was he saying that to? Duffy?
I was saying that to McKeegan, who was filming him go bonkers screaming my name into the snow about there being a 24-hour sun that had measured with flat Earth elevation angles to it. But I tried to deflect to the measurements he was making. Apparently he was screaming that at what's his name? McKeegan.
So McKeegan knew that he was ringing you up. So he's another meatball.
I don't care. I don't exactly genuinely feel privileged to have received a phone call as a flat earther from Antarctica. I mean, what did I do with it? I repeated myself for the 100th time to a man who's proactively chased me like a creepy stalker for quite some time and been told the same thing over and over again. You've measured Earth flat with elevation angles in your 10k challenge. And on Antarctica. Hey, One Deck.
Hi, guys. Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Jobdo posted a video if you want to go over it. It's a mess to be. Go ahead, One Deck, sorry.
Neil, if you had to spoon with McKeegan for 3 days straight, you'd go a bit bonkers as well.
Well, from what I heard, McToon was an annoying guy. Nobody wanted to be around him.
Okay, who cares? I mean, it's just as much an ad hominem of personal attack when you describe how irritating someone like McToon is. Who cares? Now, I don't care if he's a genuinely lovely bloke or accused of the most heinous crimes known to man. It literally makes no difference to what he did. Yeah? Does it invalidate the flat earth elevation angle measurements that he made because he's a really horrible chap, allegedly? Does it matter?
There you go again, deflecting with measurements.
What, deflecting away from the ad hominem attack about how nice a guy he is? I don't care how nice a guy is. He could be a great guy or a terrible guy. It doesn't matter to me. He's measuring Earth flat. What did I tell him when he phoned me up proactively? Yeah, that would be his 100th time getting in touch with me proactively. I'm not chasing this guy down, am I? Right? He's contacting me proactively to tell me what? That he's looked at the sun for a 24-hour period and measured it flat with angles. These angles, the ones on screen right now. This is an elevation angle measurement. So if you're going to suggest that you've got the angle measurements to the sun for a 24-hour period, then you're telling me that you've measured Earth flat for 24 hours with varying different angle measurements. That's what this is. Surface level and level to the line to the sun for a 24-hour period is nothing more than an affirmation that we measured Earth flat for 24 hours. And that's exactly what I told him. Did I say, I hear you're an horrible guy, nobody likes you too, and everybody there hates you? I don't care. What I do say is, he screamed my name into the snow about guns when I pointed out Earth was being measured flat, there and then. Now, deflection to measurements. No. Deflection to guns. Because the measurements are a flat Earth, and I don't care if Toon deflects. I don't care if he understands it. I don't care if he lies about it or is a terrible person. Earth is still measured flat, regardless of how Toon measured it flat, or lied about it not being flat with an elevation angle as depicted on screen now. That's what it was. An elevation angle measurement is a flat Earth measurement. It's a prerequisite for part of the angle that you're measuring the surface. The GP is always going to be at 90 degrees to the zenith of the sun. This is what an elevation angle is. So do I care that some shyster liar called McDuffie was down there with McKeegan being lied to by McToon about how it ain't a flat surface level to measure the angle that he's measured? It's still actually a surface level measurement of an angle, regardless of what they say, do, or how they are, or how they behave, or what they are as people. Earth's still measured flat. So in literal terms, I don't care what they say about their experiments. Same flat Earth measurements. They're not. Does it matter that they call them experiments? No, not really. Still measured flat. What's like they still say that it's an experiment that validated the globe? They still measured it flat though, didn't they? So who cares? You can either understand and recognise that. Flat Earth elevation angle measurement is another example of it. This one's come from a book that liked to talk about the globe on page 97 after talking about how flat Earth must be to measure the angle like this, depicted with an angle described as 90 degrees at the zenith of the star, just like it was for the sun, and an angle being two straight lines meeting at a vertex that kind of looks like it's curving. Yeah, if it was, it wouldn't be an angle anymore, and you wouldn't be able to put the words here, numbers, 60 degrees. It wouldn't be, because this wouldn't be giving you an angle if it's curved. It's no longer an angle. It is. That's how we measure the surface of Earth. This is what they measured in Antarctica. They measured Earth flat. And for the very literal 100th time I told Toon he'd done that, only to get a response of, where are the guns? That's it.
So wait a
flat.
second. You're saying he deflected. I never heard you say that before. That's
Yes.
a good point.
It's called projection.
He deflected with guns.
Yes. When he deflected with guns, the instantaneous human response is to project that onto your enemy, me being his enemy, Toon's enemy being myself. So he needs to deflect away from flat Earth elevation angle measurements he's had pointed out to him literally for 100th time, live while he's measuring them. So he projected his deflection to guns instantaneously onto me with the following words. He, meaning myself, Nathan Oakley, tried to deflect with measurements. Toon is saying in that statement, quote, he tried to deflect with measurements, end quote, McToon, whilst on the Antarctic. continent, measuring flat Earth elevation angles to the sun for a 24-hour period, he is deflecting 2 guns and projecting said deflection onto me in that moment. Straight up projection. Very simple. So yes, he tried to deflect with guns from the flat Earth he was measuring, and was being told for the 100th time that he was measuring it while he was measuring it with angles to the sun. Earth's measured flat.
Talking about scammers in Antarctica. I posted in Master B a video which is the most watched flat Earth video in the last 3 years. It's been up for 8 days and had 22,000 views. It's called Scamtarctica 3 by a YouTube channel called Spacebusters. Now, it's full of absolute nonsense, but it's full of crystal gems. It might want to, it goes for 3 hours, but considering we have 1.5 secret Gleasonists on the FED panel, it might be something worthwhile entering into, considering there's still a lot of flat earthers out there trying to resuscitate the old AE representation.
Who's the closet Gleasonist, as you put it? Very nicely phrased.
They know who they are.
No. You don't get away with that. You can't call 1.5 of the panel closet Gleasonists and not say who that is. You're going to have to name and shame them.
Yeah, you got to give names now.
Okay, how about this? If you enter into this video and start it, you'll flush them out.
That's it. Oh, I was about to moan about the conditional acceptance I was being offered, but that sounds reasonable. Fine. Do you have some timestamps for me, though? Or is it just play and hope? 3 hours, 32 minutes and 9 seconds.
Oh, look, he goes into some apologetics, and I think in about the first 5 minutes, because he did the previous 2 videos, so he apologises to some people for using their content without getting authorization, and then he accepts that some things in 1 and 2 he got quite wrong, and then he moves on. I'd probably go between the 5 to 7 minute mark, anywhere there, start it there.
Lockport Lock is at mile 321 there, and Rochester Lock is at mile 259 there. 321 minus.
Go on. Or mute if you're in Discord. G+, sorry. Someone's making noise in G+.
Minus 259 makes that stretch 62 miles long.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't listen to the bit that preceded this, but as soon as you describe anything as being measured as 62 miles long, that's a flat Earth linear-only distance designation. Earth is flat to have 62 miles, full stop. Miles are flat, Earth is flat, linear distance measurement affirms it. To have 62 miles, Earth is flat. Do we all understand this? I want to mush this up into the nonsense that follows in this video. Do we all understand that linear distance measurement in the form of kilometres or miles is flat? Do we all understand this?
Yes.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, let me ask a different question.
Yeah.
Given
This content creator does as well.
But Lockport's elevation above tidewater at Albany is 512 feet there, and Rochester's
512 feet in elevation is 512 feet off a flat planar surface, and if it's going to be literally physically measured, it will be described from sea level. Sea level being a measurement to give us a planar surface to describe it from. A flat Earth only description, that would be all heights ever require a flat Earth to describe them. Without exception, we're, I don't know, because we're at 6 minutes or whatever it is, but, you know, let's say it's 20 seconds of what we've watched. And we've got prerequisites up the yazoo that require Earth be flat. Not debatable, not we'll discuss this further to figure out if we're a flat plane or not. Unless we accept it, we haven't got these measurements.
is only 509 feet there, showing the water down that whole 62-mile stretch only descends 3 feet from Lockport to Rochester.
Yeah, again, to describe the relief, the 3 feet relief, is also described from the flat plane of reference. Relief, how much stuff will dribble off of the plane because it's falling away from what? The horizontal plane of reference that gives us depression and height. So if we're going to measure relief, it's measured with respect to a plane of reference. Every Earth measurement, without exception, is flat. So far, we've had miles, heights, and relief. Now, we don't often have relief, do we? I don't mean in the, sense that I'm quite relieved right now, or just, relieved myself in the bathroom. That's not what I mean. I mean in terms of the relief of the surface that's described from a flat plane, to have the relief capable of being described. It drives me nuts. All of these prerequisites.
No.
Just end it here. That's it. Now, Brian would say, well, my videos would be pretty short if I just said, well, we're going to travel 62 miles. Game over, that's it, flat Earth proven, bye, have a nice day. It's like, well, then I've only got a 20-second video. It's like, well, yeah, so long as you keep me happy by pointing that out at the beginning of your 20-second video, and then add on how if you ignore that you've just measured Earth flat in 3 different ways, you can go on to assume that these incapable of measurement on a sphere Earth descriptions work on a sphere somehow and are comparable to the flat Earth only measurements that were prerequisites in the first place, then we can have a 20-minute video. Yeah, we can, but it seems absurd to me that we'd take flat Earth prerequisites and measurements and suggest how they might work on a ball. Why would we do such nonsense? Go on, someone was trying to get something in there. Go ahead. Nope. Okay.
If the Earth were a globe 24,901 miles in circumference and proper allowance made for curvature, there would be a divergency from either end to end of each other of 2,562 feet 8 inches.
No, the divergence is described in Earth curve mathematics from surface level. That's the derivation. That's what they give you. That's what they claim is Earth curvature. But again, like the distance, like the height, like the relief, the measurement off surface level in Earth curve maths also requires Earth be measured as a flat plane to describe how much it's deviating from the surface level. 8 inches per mile squared as a rough estimate.
Or rather, the apex of the arc of that 62 miles would have to be...
No, miles don't arc. They're linear. You see what happens when you give our opponents the considerations that they don't deserve? You end up describing linear miles as being curved. They're not. Yeah? That's why you're whistling past the flat Earth prerequisites for our opponents to have their argument brought into nonsensical buffoonery. It already is. As soon as you start giving them the concession that you can have miles on a globe, you can't. They're linear.
1/4 of that divergency.
Divergency from a surface level that you can only describe it diverging from. Yeah, you need a flat Earth to describe the divergence, though, don't you?
Meaning 640 feet of fall.
You fall from a surface level. You need a flat Earth to describe this. This is nonsense. No offence, Spacebusters. I don't know you. And I'm sure you do really great work. But this just seems old and busted to me. Giving them globes that deviate in a linear fashion. It makes no sense. It's an nonsensical contradiction in terms when you understand linear distance measurement and heights off surface levels and sea levels and all the things that are needed to make any measurements of Earth ever. I can't give any of this to the globe anymore, and therefore I'm going to be giving off disdain to what are seemingly my brethren on the flat Earth side, who are only doing their best to show how it's not a globe. You don't need to. The things used to describe how it's not a globe don't work on a globe and require a flat plane to describe them.
in both directions from the 31-mile midpoint between them to either side, 640 feet that way and 640 feet that way. Or rather, if we lived on a globe, they would have had to have dug down 640 feet deep at the 31-mile middle point of these two locks and then dig level from each end to meet it in the middle in order to make this canal nearly level. But
No, you're saying make it nearly level to describe how much you deviate from the level that you've got to describe the level from if you're on a ball. You've got multiple flat Earth prerequisites to describe how ball-shaped it's not. When you deviate from how ball-shaped it's not, that's how flat it is measured. To describe how ball-shaped it isn't measured when you deviate from how flat it is measured. So who cares how ball-shaped it isn't? It literally isn't even worth mentioning, because every single measurement, distance, height, relief, all of it is actually capable of measurement and has been measured on Earth flat. So that's it. This is all just giving our opponents apologetics that they don't need, or explaining why their apologetics don't work.
they didn't do that. And yet there are only 3 feet.
Yet they didn't do that. So what did they do? Focus on that. What did they do? Well, they surveyed and measured and built on the Earth as a surface that's flat. Referencing it flat, measuring it flat, detailing deviations from the flat surface, having a surface to deviate from in terms of the measured average sea level for the entirety of the world as a flat planar surface, with an average to have it deviating from, or the heights of mountains capable of description from as an entire flat plane surface. All of these things, everything I've just described, has no business being associated with anything global, because there isn't anything global in these mathematics, measurements, or descriptions of how Earth is physically being utilised. So who cares what the globists say, or what it isn't doing globe-shaped? What it is doing, how it is measured, how we do utilise Earth, is flat.
Difference
That's
in
right,
elevation.
Nathan. It's like,
as I
sorry, mate. He keeps saying, he's saying like, oh, well, if the Earth was a globe, you don't even have to go there. If the Earth was a globe, we'd obviously have globe measurements, which there is none of anywhere whatsoever. And whatever measurements you do find, that they tell you is a globe measurement, will be actually an elevation flat Earth angle measurement from surface level and eye level, using elevation angles and nothing to do with a curvature measurement. So all this, if the Earth was a globe, well, it's not, because it's not measured that way. So we don't even have to talk about that. Simple, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't. That's what I'm trying to stress. Thank you for the summary. You can't, if you understand how Earth is measured, describe Earth as being a sphere as a prerequisite, because it isn't one, because the prerequisite is flat. So all measurements of the surface of Earth will be flat. Therefore, if Earth's a sphere, well, then none of the prerequisite measurements of Earth's surface will work. That's the end of the discussion.
show you why. The next longest level on the Erie Canal is between Syracuse and York Mills. Syracuse is at mile 166 there, and York Mills at mile 113 there. 166 minus 113 is 53 miles between them, and yet the surveyor's theodolite and transit level have both ends at just under 427 feet above tidewater at Albany. So there is an
So, you know, at this point, I've got nothing to criticise, because all he's done at this stage, although I can hear it in his tone, he's about to compare this to globe, isn't he? But if I just took this section in isolation, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the discussion. You've got the surface level measured at both ends with respect to tide level, as you phrased it. Yeah. So all of the measurements of Earth have been flat, and there's no other way of detailing them. The measurement between them in miles was linear. So everything about this is only a flat Earth prerequisite description and measurement, and reiteration from you after the fact of all those three precursors. So we've got a flat Earth being described, measured, and detailed. That's it. What else can you say beyond is the measurements of Earth? You don't have to say they're flat, they just are.
even a 3-foot drop here.
Drop would be described from surface level, though. To describe a drop, like in Earth curve maths, they describe a drop 8 inches per mile squared. Well, that drop is described from surface level. the capability of having a physical geometric sphere edge horizon drop has to have something for it to drop from, and that would be the surface level measurement in Earth curve maths. This drop that you're about to describe is no different. Any Earth measurement with a drop ascribed to it has a surface level measurement to have the drop detailed from. It is quite simple. Earth's being measured flat in all instances. This is no exception. Go ahead, whoever it was that opened their mic.
It might have been me just referencing, he's also referencing theodolites, which is angle measuring equipment, nothing to do with measuring curvature whatsoever.
Again, Spacebusters, don't take this the wrong way, right? We're not really critiquing you. We've been trained like monkeys to do this, to tell the world how Earth's not a ball. Now we need to undo that. It's not necessary. Yeah, we've been trained by a load of shills that have come out of the woodwork recently. They all did this. Told us how Earth isn't a ball, so that we can talk about how ball-shaped it is or isn't forever. And in so doing, we whistle straight past all these flat Earth measurements you're doing such a great job of detailing in prerequisite format. But for now, that'll change shortly, I don't doubt.
Just flat as a pancake with 0 locks or gates for 53 miles. There should be a divergency of over 52 miles of 1,000.
Who wants to tell him off? Me or someone else?
Well, I will. Because again, he's saying there should be. Well, there isn't. So what we're looking at, what should be there, what isn't there. But you've just told us it's flat and level and flat as a pancake. And that's because it is.
Yeah, I've done this for so long that I can preempt what I want to do and where I want the discussion to go based on how people are talking. So now I get to, in a jokey sense with a smile, but pretend disdain, call him a shill. So why are you telling us what it should do? So it should do what a globe says it should do, should it? No. I've just literally 5 seconds before you've said this said there's no need to point out what a globe would do in mathematical terms when the globe itself comes from flat Earth prerequisite measurements. So therefore suggesting what a globe should do is irrelevant based on every single measurement of Earth that you've just detailed. You can't describe what a globe would or wouldn't do. You certainly shouldn't be telling us what it should do when you make an observation and a measurement of a flat Earth. There's no should be doing anything. It's just what are you measuring and how did you measure it? You measured it flat, so it's flat. If it ain't, then your measurements are invalid. If you don't want the measurements, then toss them to the curb. That's what I'm telling Duffy currently. You don't want your flat Earth measurements, you called experiments, then toss them to the curb. I don't care. But if you want to accept that they're flat Earth prerequisite angle measurements off surface level, they are. They're called elevation angles, are told 203 times. Then you accept that you're measuring a flat Earth for them. Now, you're between a rock and a hard place if you want to use those flat Earth measurements to say, if we're on a ball, well, then they're not measuring a surface level then. And get rid of your measurements. You can't use those if you're on a ball because you haven't got 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex to call an angle to the sun. If the surface is curving, it ain't an angle, and you haven't got any measurements to call experiments anymore, you bunch of numpties. Oh, you do want to accept the flat Earth elevation angle measurements off surface level? Then get on your bleeding knees and accept that it's a surface level that you're measuring. And once you've accepted that you're measuring a surface level, there's no discussion to have about what a ball should bleed and do. I don't care what a ball should do, I've just measured the surface level. So that's it. We measured surface level, end of discussion. What discussion? Yeah, that's right, there wasn't one, was there?
802 feet 8 inches, or rather, again, an intervening convex apex of that arc.
No, the intervening apex of the arc is described from a surface level that's measured in Earth curve mathematics that describes an observer and a height measured off flat Earth at 1.22 times the square root of it being the distance to the geometric horizon. Shout out to... Oh no, I've pressed the wrong button. I thought that would bring up something else. Whoops. Oh dear. Let's try a different button. Let's try that one. I'll do my shout outs while I'm trying to get the actual chat on screen. So shout out to Himsake, who just says, keep it up, with a super chat. And there's another one that's killed something. I just can't see it. Well, I found 2 books. That's administration, right? Oh, no, that's admission. Maybe. Let's see if I can bring this up on screen. No, that's not right. No, that's not right. Maybe I won't be able to get the chat on screen. There we go. Well, I found 2 books. That's admission, right? Nah, the price of admission is 0 on Flat Earth Debate. Can anyone see what that guy's name was? It's too small on my screen to see what your name is. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Click, click, click.
Thank you for the super chat, Himsake, and click, click, click. Really appreciate the support. But no, the price of admission is 0 here. And you've got 2 options when you come to the main event, the premiere, if you will. When you get here, you find out Earth's measured flat. And then you can look at something like this and me describing how to have a concave or convex surface. You'll have to describe it from the derivation of the flat surface level that we measure with respect to Earth being measured, to describe it deviating from in a curved fashion. So Earth is always measured flat, and you can ascribe that flat Earth measurement to the surface level in Earth curve maths if you want to believe Earth has a curving surface below the measured flat surface level in Earth curve maths. So once you see that there's a flat measured surface level, you're going to measure your height off when you measure it off Earth as a flat surface level. You can then appreciate that I'm not bullshitting you when I say Earth's measured flat, and it's required to be measured flat for Earth curve belief. Once you understand this, you can get on with your day knowing that Earth's measured flat. You don't have to convert anybody. You know it's flat, and you can get on with your day. Now, if you want to tut and shake your head in disbelief when other people go about their preordained, indoctrinated belief that the surface of Earth is curving, because that's what they were taught in school, then how dare you? They were just indoctrinated like you were until you appreciated what I've just told you. Earth is always measured flat, including but not limited to the assertion that we've got a surface that's curving. You'll still measure Earth flat for that mathematical assertion. But if you did want to tut and shake your head, at least be in a position to understand implicitly why Earth gets measured flat and how the globe came into existence through every facet and detail of heliocentric motion, including but not limited to orbital motion, and Copernican mathematicization of the flat Earth angle measurements to the stars. Because then you can break it down to the next man when you're tutting and shaking your head, rather than just getting on with your day because you know it's flat. But for everybody else who gets here, like I say, there's no fee. You don't have to pay me for hearing that. You know it's flat now, right? If you just got here, no admission needed, no fee chargeable. Free for all, Earth's flat, that's how it's measured. Don't believe me? Go and measure Earth. You want an example? Because you don't want to do it, you're too lazy. There's a guy called MC Toon. Now, for whatever reason, he's got a cursed channel. What do I mean by that? I mean, he got his channel from a guy called Conspiracy Cats, who also got in touch with me and was told on 120 separate occasions that you can't have gas pressure without containment. That guy went nuts, left the arena of flat Earth after telling us, quote, "I'll give you a flat Earth for that," end quote, perspective that he was dealing with, and having to measure Earth led to him measuring Earth flat and, quote, giving us a flat Earth for that, and then buggering off with his tail between his legs to hallucinate that he sees ghosts. But in so doing, he handed over his cursed channel after the 120th rendition of You Can't Have Gas Pressure Without a Container, We'd All Be Dead If the Sky Was a Vacuum, to McToon, a man who later went on to measure Earth flat in Antarctica. And I, like anybody else who comes to my channel, told him, who constantly left message after message after message, proactively contacting me about various garbage that he felt I had the need to hear. I don't care what this man does. He's just a creepy stalker to me, like many others. But nevertheless, this creepy stalker felt the need to contact me over and over again, and every time he got the same rendition of the same answer. We measure Earth flat. You measure Earth flat. Here's your example in your 10K challenge, where the Earth gets measured flat with elevation angle measurements to stars. Now, the 100th rendition to that particular individual, who could have just got on with his day, knowing that Earth was measured flat, chose instead to do the next best thing, prove it to himself. For whatever reason, he decided to go down to Antarctica. This is the fan of Nathan Oakley 1980. He's watched at least 100 of my shows. Definitely a fan. His name's MC Toon. He decided, and it wasn't good enough for me saying Earth's flat, he needed to fly across the surface of Earth in straight and level flight on an aeroplane to a place called Antarctica in the south, a direction only describable on a flat plane, to land and then measure elevation angles again for himself on Antarctica's surface flat than it is with the measurements that he took that require Earth be a flat surface level for the angle measurements he made. Now that guy contacted me yet again proactively from the surface of Antarctica, believe it or not, to be told for the literal 100th time, "You are measuring Earth flat, man." Now, does it bother me that this man went nuts in the face of these facts? They're not disputable, debatable, questionable, argumentable, anything. They're facts. Earth being measured flat as a fact was being experienced in real time as I said those words to McToon. Now, what did he do? Did he accept it and get on with his day? No. He went nuts. Started shouting about guns or something. Went crazy. Yelling at all of the other participants who were also measuring Earth flat there. Yeah, that's what you do. Now, you can just take my word for it. Or you could go to Antarctica in a southward direction, that's flat. Straight and level in flight, that's flat. To measure elevation angle measurements off a flat planar surface to the sun for 24 hours, that's flat. To prove that Earth's measured flat, to tell me that I was wrong about guns. I mean, that would make you seem very insane, but Earth would still be measured flat regardless of how insane MC Toon, with his cursed channel he got from conspiracy cats, who now sees ghosts, is. These numpty idiots seeing ghosts and measuring Earth flat in Antarctica doesn't change that Earth's measured flat. They could have just taken my word for it, or looked at anybody else who's measured Earth ever, because all measurements of Earth are always flat, and you don't have to go out to Antarctica, fly on a flat level surface to prove it to yourself. Just take my word for it, yeah? It is. Whether you like it or not, Earth is measured flat.
I mean, McToonstony's could have just looked at Eratosthenes, how he measured Earth flat 2,000 years ago. Or he could have looked at Al-Biruni's example of, using elevation angles to get the heights of mountain and then taking depression angles. Nothing to do with curvature, but this is how Earth's always been measured. The Greeks knew that. They measured the globe flat. And we've always known that.
Shout out to Jardo for gifting 10 memberships. Really appreciate the support, Jardo. Thank you very much indeed. Actually on the G Plus panel today for a change. Good to have you on the G Plus panel, by the way.
Good to be here.
I wasn't talking to you. Talking to Jardo. You get treated better on the G Plus panel.
Again, always 1/4 the divergency, sloping at 450 feet, 8 inches between them if the Earth were a sphere and 24,901 miles in circumference. But nope, nothing. Flat as a pancake. Here, too, they did not have to dig down 450 feet at the 26-mile center point between the two locks and then dig level from each end to the middle. Our flat level Earth already did it for them long before their engineers ever came along. And since these two canals cannot exist on this globe, but yet there they are, provably flat as a pancake on the ground where we live.
Yeah, and it is a fair play. You can example it with something that's got the ingenuity and capabilities of man to produce something physical that you can point to in terms of the surveying and building that's taken place to produce this. Okay. But every concept that's used in describing it is also flat Earth prerequisite information and measurement. the distance in miles, the relief, all the things I went through earlier. So it's so hard because I want this guy to be on my side, right? I mean, at some point, I'm probably going to be in touch with him going, can you put my book under your video and you can be an affiliate and earn 30%? And yet, here I am basically saying everything you're doing is redundant. In fact, it's detrimental because you're encouraging the audience to have an understanding of how the globe doesn't work, which still keeps the globe in the forefront of the mind of the person that's hearing, how Earth simply has to be measured flat, and all the distance measurements and surface level surveys to build a canal would have to be. It's like, yeah, everything about it has to be flat in the first instance, and it's useful for me to point this out in the negative towards you to make the example stronger in the mind's eye of my audience. But I don't want him to perceive that as only being to his detriment personally. It's not. It's so useful to have someone doing this to point out why it's not constructive to incorporate how the globe should work. The only thing I would actually give him criticism for.
Not in the sky where we don't live. We can't be on a globe, whether you saw a light in the sky in Antarctica or not. And therefore, Fantasy Island cannot exist as claimed. Period.
How does that non sequitur function in argumentation and logical form? It doesn't. That was completely non sequitur. And I mean, again, the extrapolations that they might form from their maps and models don't change the flat Earth elevation angle measurements they're making. They'll send a man nuts in the snow screaming my name, right? Where are the guns, right, McToon? Yeah, I'll send you nuts when I actually point out how they measured Earth there, regardless of how the spinning ball space monkey religion depicts it on the bottom of a spherical surface that's also derived from flat Earth measurements. We'll point that out to the ends of the Earth too.
Period. In fact, a datum horizontal line is used in surveying and engineering for measuring distances accurately.
Now we're talking. Oh, I can feel the relief washing over me. Let's hear more of this.
Like here, where you have a ground changing in different elevations, it gives you a medium reference to make sure your lighthouse doesn't look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and
why do it? Why do it? I could throttle you. Why are you incorporating in that the lighthouse would be deviating on a what's the diverging zeniths? We haven't got reciprocal zenith angles in this depiction of a flat surface level and a datum describing the relief, the elevation, the depression. You can do all of it from surface level if you've got a surface level, and you do. Here it is. So we've got a surface level. Immediately into how it isn't a ball. It's just redundant. It's not necessary. Let's just get a grip. There's a description of the elevations. The profile itself requires Earth be flat. When was this first pointed out? Well, let's give Anthony Riley the props he deserves. You go to Google, you can draw an elevation profile for the entire surface of the plane of Earth, and it will give you the heights, how they deviate from a level plane, the sea level reference, and for everything, all of it, the whole of Earth as it's been measured in an elevation profile. You can only do it in that format if Earth is flat, to have it go up or down from that flat planar reference that you've got as a 0 point at sea level. That's how it all functions. That's how Earth is measured. So to have this, you don't need to get into the apologetics that you are with the Leaning Tower of Pisa and our globe has got reciprocal zenith angles. Let them apologise for how they can't make it work with a horizontal planar datum. Don't start giving them on their behalf. It's just not needed. I was about to give you props.
Fall into the water. In the British House of Commons standing orders, i.e. the law, Order number 55 states that when building anything, plans have to show the surface of the ground marked on it, the intended level, and a datum horizontal line. That datum line shall be the same throughout the whole length of the work.
Yes. Now, I mean, it could go, well, duh. But yes, exactly. Doesn't matter where you look at it, which way you dice it, when you're measuring stuff that's got reference to Earth and its surface. It is flat. Earth is flat. This measurement, when it says the every 100 feet, yeah, that's linear. Like the miles, like the kilometres, like everything that we'll measure surfaces of Earth with always, because Earth's flat. And you don't have to make apologetics for how this isn't ball-shaped either.
And in the case of long projects like a waterway, cut, public carriage, road, a railway, a tram road, it has to be near one of the termini, the beginning or the end. In other words, it's against the law to assume a curved Earth over long-distance engineering projects. So in order to have their cake and eat it too, as is the case in 100-mile-long waterways like the Suez Canal,
here it comes.
They have come up with the theory of equipotential water and gravity to defy logic, observation, and physics. The Suez Canal is a...
I mean, gravity is also always going to be described with respect to flat planar descriptions, be it pseudo-Riemannian fourth-dimensional or Newtonian three-dimensional. You still need it to be flat to describe down. Yeah, they made that mistake and called it an experiment in Antarctica too, when they levelled their tool for weighing things to describe their gravitational attraction in a perpendicular to a plane of reference downward orientation. You need a flat plane for that also. Gravity requires the surface of Earth be flat. And many people don't appreciate that when they start reading the words that apologise for the flat planar surface, that you're saying it is the law to measure. No, you don't need to go into the letter of the law, because then you can convolute the law with the description of the equipotential gravity. Gravity is going to be perpendicular to a plane of reference. So you give us a crap what they describe as gravity, regardless of if it's a fourth-dimensional bent pseudo-Riemannian geometry or a three-dimensional perpendicular to a plane of reference downward force that was debunked 110 years ago. Regardless, you're going to need planes of reference for all of these mathematics in the first instance. Earth's still being measured flat, and the letter of the law, regardless of what it says, they could say in the letter of the law in the next sentence, and it is decreed that you will go to prison unless you accept that it's a curved surface that you've just measured flat. Orwellian doublespeak is tolerable in law. But it doesn't change how Earth gets measured. So again, this becomes redundant because you're just now having to apologise for the letter of the law when it wasn't necessary. It was surplus to requirements. Earth got measured. So just lean into the measurement of Earth and not the law around that measurement that's flat. Because the measurement's flat. That's the be-all and end-all of Earth in its description and its capability of utilisation in all formats. Earth is flat. You don't have to like it. You'll have to measure it that way, though.
Around
Nathan.
100 miles.
Yes.
I think the reason why this guy is so popular and why he gets so many views, apart from his wonderful voice, he's like every flat earther's second team. You know, you have your team that you barrack for, and then you have your second team that you just want to do well, and they have a great defence and they work the ball well, but they just can't score a goal.
You're saying that this guy is like the second team that you support in the third division that is actually from your hometown that never really wins anything. But because you live in the popular big city, you go to the big city games that's got a Premiership team playing in them, and they do win all the games, but you know damn well that they're not your hometown team that doesn't do very well, that's your second team. But it just so happens that this guy has got a lot of people from his hometown that actually do support him, so in spite of him never doing particularly well, he still gets a 30,000 crowd at his home games. That's what you're saying by analogy? Man, I had to unpack that, not being a sports fan. Hope it did well.
Yeah, almost.
Go on then. Where did I get it wrong?
No, the guy is popular. Like, he's very articulate. He's got a great voice. He's got good emotion. So he builds you up, you know. So as a flat earther, and he's got, you know, obviously he's done a little bit of research. So you're egging him on, and then when he stands up at the penalty box, he just misses every time.
Okay.
He's just not got the. I mean, like he's got a little bit better into it. He started off a little bit poor, but like you say, he's still bringing this globe into it. You know, it can't be this good. He's not just getting straight to the point. But he is coming up with some good points, like the horizontal datum lines and the levelness. He's mentioning some of the key words, but he's just not really.
Yeah, I'm
sticking on
gonna
them.
stop giving people this as a pass right now. People are gonna say you are
but
just
we
being
can't help
mean.
it though.
Go on.
We can't help it. It's FED has been on the flat foot for 1 year and change. Is it? Like, we can't expect the slowest of the world to keep up with that pace, man. I mean, because in order to see the simplicity of it all, we had to be complex, digging into logical fallacies, digging into hearing every single lie in order to see the simplicity of it all. Because if it was easy for us to accept water as level, we'd have just did that from day one.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, actually. I mean, I kind of is, because you linked it to it at the end when you said, well, it's really easy when you start getting the measurements. Well, that's true. As far as I'm now concerned, and this is to my detriment and yours, no offence, Eli, but this is like shooting ducks in a barrel, isn't it? Every single referenceable, provable, measurable Earth measurement that could support or debunk our position as flat earthers will always and can only support our position. That is to say, because Earth actually is flat and that's how it's always measured, it's hard to go wrong, right? Now, I get that they've created a whole paradigm of, well, let's argue about how the flat earthers say that the Earth curve measurements don't work correctly, because then you've got this whole paradigm where flat earthers are actually the people that say Earth curve maths are wrong. Well, that's quite useful for an argument that needs to be supportive towards the globe side of the argument. But when you actually break down what a flat earther's job is in the argument, it's like shooting ducks in a barrel, right? How can you go wrong? Just go to any Earth measurement and you'll win. Instantly. You can do it with one word, miles. So when you realise that actually, yeah, the odds are actually stacked massively in flat earthers' favour, you go, you've got to be pretty dumb to lose. And why do you lose most of the time, flat earthers? Oh, because you get into the globers rhetoric of how it ain't a globe. And what do you know? You're too dumb to have learnt it inside out and back to front. Well, you don't need to. It's like shooting, just go to any measurement of Earth and it'll be flat. And stop. Don't start telling them how they're wrong about their globe, or how their globe don't work with the flat Earth. You don't need to. So when you break it down like that, you go, how could you go wrong? How can you get it? How can you mess this up? Oh, you're introducing your opponent's argument on their behalf. Why? You've already won. Just give a measurement of any distance ever or any height ever, and you've won.
No, Nathan, it's not that simple.
I have a question.
No, you're too late. You can go second. Brian first, because he was like, no, he disagreed.
No. I interrupted you.
I know it was Eli
first.
Sorry, my bad, Eli. You were into this discussion first. Brian, you'll have to wait. It was actually a discussion with Eli. I just thought it concluded when you.
And I actually interrupted like right before he spoke. But go ahead, Brian. Good morning.
No, Eli, you go ahead. I'm not the same voice for Eli to go.
No, hell no. You go first. Eli's just rude. He is in Discord, isn't he? He is. Yeah, Eli's just rude. You go ahead, Brian. Yeah. Now go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, what do you guys think about? Okay, probably not Nathan. Nathan's lazy. We gotta find. I think that we should pool the flat earthers together and have conversations at them or with them. I don't mean like it doesn't. Why does it have to just be this video format where we respond? We could do that and then some. I don't see why we can't be having round tables with flat earthers who insist on seeming like they haven't heard FED's show. All right, I'll bring FED to you. Why aren't you talking about how every globe Earth rhetoric includes flat Earth measurements? Let's start there. What's the problem? Like, all of these people are reachable. They're on the internet. We just don't like to hang with them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, these people want there to be an argument, though. I've heard it so many times that we get booted and scooted from various different platforms because we end the argument. We don't allow there to be an argument. We stop our opponent when they start utilising flat earth measurements and say, you can't do that, you're using a flat earth measurement. And then the mods will get annoyed with us. Don't interrupt him just because he's using your flat earth measurement. Isn't what they say. They just say, don't interrupt the opponent and try and end the argument. We want the argument to carry on for 3 hours. It's like, why do we want the argument to carry on for 3 hours? Oh, because that's what you want. You want the argument to carry on for 3 hours. So us instantly ending the argument isn't what people want. They genuinely don't want that.
I think you even tried in the past.
I wouldn't
Sharon
say people.
turned into.
We'll just round out with Eli first. Go ahead. Then Brian. Then One Deck. Go ahead, Eli.
We're focused on the small niche of people that are like us. There's a vast majority of normies out there that aren't engaging flat earth unless it's to remember that they saw some stupid Simon Dan video or something. Like, we need to figure out how to re-engage normies because they're checked out. We think we're talking to normies. We're literally just in a vacuum talking to each other and anti-flat earthers. And every now and again, a normie trickles into the cave. We need to do something else. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say.
Hello, mind if I chime in?
You can in just a second. Brian, did you want to just get your point out and then One Deck and then what's your name, sir?
Flat Earth Friend.
Flat
I
Earth
just
Friend
happened
will
to
come to
stumble
you
by and
shortly.
I heard Eli say how to appeal to a larger audience.
We'll come to you in a
No,
second.
leave this man go ahead, Nathan. Leave this man go. I go off.
Well, just One Deck. Did you have something you wanted to get in just quickly?
No, it's okay. He's gone.
Go
now,
ahead,
so,
Flat Earth Friend.
Let the guy carry on. No
Go
problem.
ahead. Flat Earth Friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, hi. Sorry about the background noise, by the way. I'm in a car. But yeah, I've been thinking about how to reach a larger audience from the Flat Earth side perspective because that's what I'm doing on Instagram. And I'll just keep it short, but you guys really need to appeal to like the alt-right politics guys. Like, so many people are waking up to, geopolitics issues and such, and these people are really open to learn about new perspectives, particularly from a Christian point of view. So maybe it'd be a good idea to appeal to someone like Zerka, which Wits it has done, very smartly so. People like Nick Fuentes, Nico, these people are all very open to Flat Earth with huge audiences, but the problem is they never get the good people representing it for them. So thought I'd just throw my 2 cents and my thoughts out there. But please continue the conversation.
Absolutely. Anybody who's got any suggestions like this gentleman has very kindly done, please send them to me by any means that I have available to you to contact me with. Which is to say, I want these people to have me on their shows in the very near future to promote the very best resource there will be for this subject matter. That will be Welcome to Flat Earth by Nathan Oakley, the book that is about to come out. Now, that book will be promoted on those platforms if I have contact information for them and can say, you have been recommended by a gentleman who goes by the name of Flat Earth Friend. I understand from the information he has given to me to date that you have had Witsit on as an interviewee. I have a book to promote and it is the best Flat Earth resource available to date. In fact, for the last, for the previous 100 years or however I'll phrase it. But my point is I need these contacts and I don't have them. I don't know who these people are. I've never heard these names before in my life, but you want me to engage with them. Now I will if I've got something to shill for, and that's a book. Because then I've got every excuse to say, I don't know you, you've been recommended to me, and I'm shilling my book. Gonna come on and shill my book? Because then people go, oh, you want to shill a book? And I go, yeah, there's an affiliate program. You can make $10 a book. Want to make $10 a book? Put the link below, have me on your show, you'll make $10 a book. That people respond to, trust me. Brian.
Okay, Nathan. You were saying earlier that I heard you say you can just say Moyle when the debate, right? Let's just say there's 500 people listening to that debate, and 499 of them are totally against you, but one of them is open to listening to both sides. You saying Moyle, right? Just Moyle alone might win you a debate, but it doesn't educate that person who's interested in listening to both sides. So that you've then lost that one person who don't know what your Moyle was about. If they don't know what you're on about, Moyle, that's not going to do it. And even if you do just say Moyle, how does that prove it?
Yeah, I get that
I'm
what you're
asking
saying.
you
It
that
needs
question. Just saying Moyle, how does it prove it? You have to be able to prove that.
No, I get that. You
So
would
prove it
prefer
to
an
me.
elaboration on it, and I'm keeping it concise to go through the point in hand when going through a video. No, miles as a single word is a gross exaggeration to suggest that that is the be-all and end-all of ending any flat Earth debate. Me describing how the linear measurement of Earth's surface with miles, in response to somebody suggesting that you can measure a distance in miles and then suggest that the deviation from a level plane surface measured in linear miles would be the curve you could describe in miles that aren't curving. Yes, an elaboration would put a concise end to the discussion and educate the person I'm in debate with, Brian. And yes.
Sorry.
No, you feel free. You're critiquing me. I'm taking it not with gritted teeth because it's perfectly valid. I'm using this Scamtarctica video the same way you're using me, and I don't disapprove.
The point I'm making, right, is that one person out of that 300 people or whatever, that might be open to listening to both sides, that isn't just totally opposed to you and doesn't care what you say and won't hear it because they don't care. And they won't hear the rubbish that your opponent is coming up with because all they're going to do is support that person regardless of what they say. That one person, if you just say Moyle and leave it at that, they're not going to know what you're on about. Right? The truth is, a mile can be curved, a mile can be wound around something, can be brought up and down across up a mountain or down a mountain, blah blah blah. But what proves the mile, right, is horizontal, a linear, right? You go back, what's an inch? An inch is a straight line. 12 of them make a foot. Foot is a straight line. 5,280 of those make a mile. If you're talking about a distance between 2 points, and as the crow flies or airline distance, you're talking about a straight line distance. If you're talking about that in miles, then you're talking about a horizontal straight line linear distance. Just that little bit alone gives the person, then the person's going, that is true. Inches are straight, and so are feet. And before you know it, they're not thinking, what's that about? So just saying something like that, the problem is that you can be, and I spoke about this with Adam and some of the lads on Discord last night. You can be in danger of becoming a brilliant debater. I can go and debate any topic from the debating skills I learned in this arena. I can go in and debate almost any topic, and most of the time I don't even need to know the details. I can beat the person of their own fallacies and just using logic. But that doesn't mean anything because I'm not proving to an audience that I'm correct. I'm just proving that I'm able to win a debate. You have to be able to show the audience that your opponent's position is wrong and that your position is correct, not that you're a better debater. Because there's ballers out there who are better debaters than flat earthers. And that's why sometimes flat earthers end up looking bad because they're not good debaters. That doesn't mean what they're talking about is wrong or what the baller is talking about is right. So you do need to be a good debater, but you can't just end up as just a good debater because that's no good to anyone. No one in the audience learns anything.
And that's because well, I don't really know why or how they can do this. I guess it's circular reasoning or the ability for humans to continuously circle a conversation. But the problem matter to their point. So they'll say, hold on, truck will. Sorry about that, Nathan. They'll say something like, I don't know, star rotation proves that the Earth can't be flat. Like, oftentimes they don't even say it's a globe. Talking, it can't be flat. Or if it's flat, then explain star rotation. You're already put on the back foot. Now you're explaining stuff that you shouldn't be explaining, not because you can't explain it. You don't have to. You don't have to explain anything. Remember, if you started the conversation with Earth measures flat, what are you doing talking about star rotation? Because they brought it up? Well, if it was flat, then how do you explain it? No. If there were less of us engaging people in those conversations, maybe they would hear more of our conversation.
But if you're engaging in that conversation with somebody about how Earth measures flat, then you've immediately taken the position of a flat Earth evangelist. And you should know all of the arguments inside out and back to front. And if you don't go up to people telling them that Earth's measured flat.
Yeah, but you're doing critiques of guys like this guy from Scamtarctica over and over again, who are building
Check 1, 2.
they're building the basis of learning the arguments. And it might sound corny now because we've been around for so long, but people need to hear this kind of stuff before they get to the extreme levels that we're at. Now, for example, when we explain linear measurements such as inch, foot, mile, we can explain that as a linear measurement, but people don't understand how we get to the linear measurement.
You cut out.
Hello? Go ahead, whoever that is. Somebody saying hello?
Thought it was Eli. Was it? No.
Is that you, Eli?
I'm sorry, my service. I thought it was his service cutting out, but it was mine. My apologies.
Carry on, Jardo.
I just want to emphasize, just cut in here, that I do enjoy the fact that the main thesis is to make a positive claim for flat Earth. And I think we're going through that video shows very much in every step of the way, a flat earther can make a positive case that is flat, and there is no need to rebuttal that, because anything that they're going to utilize is going to necessarily rely on your arguments that shows and demonstrates that it's flat. So,
I mean, I've done it with a few friends in the past when they were Globers, but not in this arena, but, and I've said, well, just go and do a quick Google search and it'll come back with Eratosthenes. And I've actually sat down with them looking at the diagram, not going on and on at them and beating them up, but trying to make them see what's actually happening and talking about the angle. You can't have that on a curved surface, the presuppositions that are in that story, and then the mathematical. And I've done that and sat down with people, and yeah, they've maybe not, even though they've seen exactly what I'm saying and pointing out is truth, they've maybe not walked away as a flat earther, but that's a good way to go about it sometimes. But even when we've had people coming in here, Globers, if you give them the mic for a minute, they'll also, when trying to describe how Earth curves measured, will be describing angle measurements. And we could, sometimes we do beat them up very quickly for that. Sometimes they don't let us stop and explain. It can get a bit of friction like that. So I think we do try a little bit of this as well, to be honest with you. I think Nathan's actually mentioned it to Jeren and Witzy in the past, before one of them turned back to the globe, to go front foot forward. We need to start, this is the way, and Dave Weiss. But these people who were supposedly, in this arena at a high level, haven't taken that advice on board for some reason, and still talk about well, that can't be right, because if it was a globe, they're still doing what this guy's doing. You know, I'll be quiet now because I'm losing my trail of thought. Sorry.
It's okay. We've got a super chat.
All right, well, I'll pick it up. No. Oh, I thought you were going to try.
Well, there's a super chat. I'll just do it
we got a
quickly.
little more meat on this bone.
Sure, but I'll just read out the super chat from Tom. It says, an inch is just like a really small Home Depot. Well, yeah, I get the sentiment, Tom. Same as miles, same as kilometres, same as meters, same as feet, same as yards. They're all linear. So an inch is like a really small Home Depot. Like Earth is like a Home Depot on a massive scale. Yeah, what, measured flat? With linear miles or inches? Yes, it is, yes. Go ahead, Eli. Thank you for the super chat, Tom.
Yeah. Oh man, did I lose my train of thought that fast? I don't think I did. So the thing with you know what I get? I've heard this so many times throughout the years. Now, in retrospect, from people that aren't trustworthy. Now, here's the thing. Everyone has said, or there are a lot of people that have said, well, you know, when you're first looking into it, you kind of need this level, X level, whatever, that rudiment, that level where people start talking about, oh, we see too far type stuff. People keep saying that step is necessary. You know what? Validate that premise. I've even said it before. I don't know why that would be better. Why would that be better? Why are you saying that? Why was I saying that? Can somebody respond to that? Why would that be better than the things that we're talking about now? We could point them to a manual. We could literally moonwalk on them at this point. Like he said, like Nathan said, it's super easy at this point. It's like shooting ducks in a barrel.
Yeah, I agree. So why not just point out how easy it is? Now, obviously, there's going to be a certain number of naysayers that say you've got to make it complicated and, you know, not mention any names. Brian's logic. You know, there's going to be people like that just want to make your life hard. But if you can walk past those people and just realise that it is really simple, and no matter what you suggest or how you argue about Earth, it will always be measured flat, then you can put the next man who's arguing for it being on a ball on the back foot the minute you point out their measurements are flat.
Saying.
My
He's
God,
saying the layman is not going to understand it. Saying the layman's not going to understand it. Same thing when a guy came in with the elevation angle. He didn't know what the hell you were talking about. The layman doesn't get it, so it's better to break it down for them within that. It was less than 2 minutes Brian broke that down.
Why? The layman doesn't understand that you're measuring Earth flat when you measure Earth flat. Not my problem. If the layman is too dumb to understand, that is not my problem. If the general capability of the general public is to understand implicitly that a flat measurement is flat, and they don't want to believe that because they're told, no, the surface of Earth is curving. So when someone points out a flat measurement of the surface of Earth, that means they're wrong. And they start telling you that your flat surface measurement of a flat surface isn't a flat surface measurement of a flat surface because Earth's a ball. I don't care.
Yeah, you can turn around and say, why can't you drive around a globe and get miles on your car? I don't understand. How? It works on a globe.
Look, I've got my hooks in Brian now. I can hear the flap of the fish at the surface. Go ahead, Brian.
I agree with Nathan. Like it, because oftentimes when I'm engaging someone, depending on the questions that they ask me, you have to be able to ask me questions that are directly related to what I just told you. If I can tell you're veering off into this part, things that don't have anything to do with what I'm talking about, and I'm trying to mentally pull you down a certain corridor and you're mentally fighting it, I can't talk to you. That's the answer. The answer isn't, now I'm going to make an enemy out of this person. Now we're going to argue back and forth for 3 years. No. You, sir, are not ready to accept that a mile is flat. Sorry.
I just want to butt in here before, because talking about the layman, typically a layman will believe things based on authority figures. They're based on some higher authority. They'll base things what space is based on NASA. They'll base things like on the eclipse, on what they were told what the eclipse is. It's actually usually everything what a layman believes is based on authority. That's why it says, "Oh, this is not going to work," because a layman's not going to believe this because
That's not true.
Yeah, they don't have the same basis.
And that's exactly why you've got to demonstrate.
Hold on, just one at a time. Neil said that's not true. Go ahead, Neil. Then Brian.
I don't think that's true with the layman. Layman's not going to believe what anybody says. I search things out for myself, and I'm a layman. Now I use a little wheel on a stick, and I go straight down to measure my rooms. I could take a freaking Earth-sized ball. It's a game called Earth Ball. Take that same thing and go around that thing, and it will let me know how many miles I went around it. Okay? So there you go.
I just want to say, most people believe in the ISS. Do you think they believe it because they have an argument for it, or they were told by an authority?
Dude,
Sorry,
chill. Dude, what's your name?
Amir.
Amir, just give us a sec. Brian, then Amir. Go ahead, Brian.
You, after I said what I said to you, you then poo-pooed it, right? You deny it, right? I'm not talking about, right? I'm not talking about, let me put this the right way. I'm not talking about boring someone. I'm talking about demonstrating that you know what you're talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Not just saying Moyle is not demonstrating to the ignorant that you know what you're talking about. That is not demonstrating it. That's why when I asked you, Nathan, to prove how, by saying Moyle, prove a Moyle is linear, you didn't give me back anything. I gave it to you. The details.
So you're saying that Nathan is like the dude in Discord that says
Eli, right? When I'm having a strip tour off me, you don't have to have the penny drop that I'm having a strip tour off me, right? I can cope. Thanks. No offense. You go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I won't be long enough. The point I'm making, Nathan, is you must be able to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about to the audience. Now, if you're in a debate, you're not going to have 20 minutes, but you must take the time you have and be able to demonstrate that what you're saying is correct and what your opponent is saying is incorrect. You need to use that time to do that. Sometimes you don't have much time, I get that. But when you do have the option and you do have a little bit of time, you must demonstrate. Otherwise, the person doesn't know, like, whether or not you know what you're talking about. I said this to Adam, and Adam agreed with me. And you can take what me and Adam say with a pinch of salt, you can throw it out, whatever. But if I came to the show today and I heard you saying for the first time, and I heard you saying miles, like, it's a measure of that, miles, that wouldn't keep me. I would go, right, I'm looking for.
That's okay. I'll take it.
Detail.
Yes. I completely agree, and it is substandard for me to do so. So to put it back on the other foot, what would you suggest would be the most efficient way to take the person who's arguing with me that Earth's a sphere? Now, at the point that I'm going to take it that I would interject and say, you're using miles, then welcome to flat Earth. Insufficient, right? Now, to encourage you to better that, what would you do in the same circumstance where I would say, welcome to flat Earth, you've just used miles? Not good enough. What would you do?
Well, the hypothetical situation is if there's a debate going on. Most of the time at present in this show, there isn't a debate. Right? You could say to the person you're using miles. You could say that you could point that out. I could point that out. Yeah, that could be used in the debate. But you don't want a situation where you're just good at winning debates and nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. You understand what I mean? When you have the opportunity
Brian,
to put that little bit of detail in to prove that you know what you're talking about. Go on, Eli.
Yeah, I'm listening for your example because you were right, and Nathan, I guess he understood what you were saying. Again, Nathan is like you know what you're breeding, Nathan? You're breeding the kinds of people that like casually listen to FED, and then they go on in Discord, and then they say, "Yeah, Earth's measured flat. Haven't you heard of a mile?" Like, and then that's literally it, because that's all you said. They're not around in the after show, or they're not listening extensively to understand how much more there is to say. That's all they said. That's a problem.
Yes,
So,
same, Brian.
Brian, what should they say? That's the question.
Well, if you're going to stop them at that point to say you're using a miles, that is a measurement of a flat Earth, or miles are, you must, like, if you're going to say that and they're using a distance, you then must go into a distance is between 2 points from A to B, right? And point out that what the person is describing is an as the crow flies distance, like an airline distance. That's going to be straight line. There won't be any curving to that. Then you go into you're using miles. You can even start off with saying you start off with an inch, and then go to a foot. You know what I mean? Inches are straight, feet are straight. You put them all together, a mile becomes straight. 10 of those miles is straight. Right? And then you can point out if you want that that what we're talking about as a distance is between A and B, which is always a linear straight line, because the shortest route between any 2 points is a straight line in reality. Do you know what I mean? Well, that's not going to work on their globe, but who cares? The point I'm making is that little extra bit of detail lets the person that's listening know, did you know what you're talking about? As opposed to just beating the opponent and the person sitting on the sidelines who isn't willing to listen to both sides doesn't have a clue what you're talking about. As I said, if I came to the show and that's what I was hearing in today's world, I probably wouldn't stay. And Adam said the same thing, because just saying those things is not enough, in my opinion. Now, people can have, that's my opinion on it. That's how I see it.
That doesn't answer him.
What's up,
He's asking-
everyone?
Hold on, just one sec. He's asking, how would you best phrase it if you were to approach somebody who, in debate or otherwise, needs it illustrating to them that in order to use miles, Earth must be flat? How do you get, if miles is point A and Earth being flat is point D, what's the B and C of it, Brian?
Yeah, I pointed it out, Nathan, that if you're talking about a distance between 2 points, point A to point B, you're always talking about a straight line distance. In reality, all distances between point A and point B are straight lines, because the shortest route distances, let's just say in their infancy, are straight line shortest route distances. You're not taking in all the road systems between Chicago and Detroit. I just use those two as an example. If you want to talk about what is the distance between Chicago and Detroit, it's just the distance will be given to you as a straight line, as the crow flies, shortest route. Do you know what I mean? That's what you're talking about. You're not so you then point out that it's always linear. Then you can go into, or you can go into first, that the mile is, what is a mile? Right, you go to its origin, which is the inch. Do you know what I mean? And then the foot, then the mile. Then you can say 10 miles, whatever. The point being is that you're pointing out that what a mile is and what a distance between 2 points are. Right? Everyone knows that. Everyone knows the distance between 2 points is not curved. So for them to put that, turn that into an arc length, they've got to first adhere to what a mile is, which is a straight horizontal. Then they've got to add all the miles between Chicago and Detroit together, which will be via the shortest route between the 2 points, which will be straight line, and then add an R value, right? But the R value part comes afterwards. That they add mathematically has nothing to do with reality. In reality, that distance is a straight horizontal between point A, Chicago, and point B, Detroit. You know what I mean? That's the point. We're talking about reality. So you don't have to go into loads and loads of stuff, because there isn't much detail to go into. But the little bit you do go into is proving your position. to the person who doesn't know what you're talking about.
Can I
Yes,
just chime in here?
you can.
quietly?
Perfect. Thank you, Brian. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the problem we have is we've deviated, like we've just done a massive segue away from Scamtarctica, and along the way we've chopped off educating flat earthers to trying to educate globers somehow. The initial discussion was talking about how we can educate other flat earthers. Now, in relation to saying flat earth measurements, how do we derive the inch? How do we derive the mile? That's what people want to know. And we haven't covered that yet. So, for example, if I have a belt that's 44 inches, that's measured linear, and I put it on my waist, that 44 inches, is there still 44 inches if I put it around my waist? That's kind of stuff that flat earthers are asking.
But you literally answered the question though, because the inch at first is a linear standard. What do we call it? Like what we say about time? It's something that we've agreed upon already.
Yeah,
Like just because you wrap it around your waist doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like I could go into how an inch is. The inch is from the knuckle, the knuckle nearest the tip of the thumb to the tip of the thumb of a grown man. That's how they initially determine an inch, and that's a straight line they're talking about. So a little straight line distance multiplied by 12 gives you a foot. That multiplied by 5,280 gives you a mile. I can go into the details of where the mile came from via the marching of soldiers, the Romans, and then the British. The Romans was 5,000, the British turned it into 5,280. It's now 5,280 of those straight line feet, and all those feet are made up of 12 segments of straight line inches. So you can go into that as well. But I'm like, the example I was given was a debate. So I'd be putting in as much detail as I can, but I'd only get a certain amount of time to do that in the debate. The point is that, as Eli said, it's an agreed upon thing. But an inch is not a curve. No matter what way you twist or turn it, you can curve an inch, right? You can do that around your waist, but the initial measurement is a straight line.
Any more for any more? No? Well, and with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming Streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Another massive thank you to Discord and G+, and I will see you all in the next video.